In the previous video, we have seen why we need a custom connector, and we have configured an app registration for creating a custom connector. In this video, we will see how we can create a custom connector from this app registration information. To do that, I need to go to the make.powerapps.com, and we can see the custom connector option under the Dataverse. So I click on custom connectors, and you can see there is an option to create from blank, from Azure Service, OpenAPI, and other things. So as of now, we create from blank. So the connector name is Graph API connector. I click on create. Now I can give some answers here. So for this, we need to give the API information. So for that, I need to give the graph.microsoft.com. So I go here and I give the host name as graph.microsoft.com. I click on next. So it has no authentication, but we need a OAuth authentication for this. So I click on OAuth, and the identity provided should be Azure Active Directory. So we need client ID, which is this one, and we need a secret key, which is this one, and let others remain same. For the resource URL, again I need to get this graphapi.microsoft.com and paste it here, and we don't have to do anything here. So we need this redirect URL, which will be generated when you save this custom connector. So I'm just saving that so that it will just get generated. Once it is generated, we need to copy that URL and we need to update our app registration with the redirect URL. So the custom connector is created now. So I can copy this and I go to the app registration where I can see the redirect URIs in the overview. I click on the redirect URI. You can see there is an option of adding a platform. That should be a web. I click on web and I'm adding the redirect URI now. Here you can see we need to select the token that have to be sent back to our application. So I click on access token and ID tokens. I click on configure. So this has been done from our side. Now I go to the custom connector and click on definition. So the definition is something like the action that we use to grab our Graph API to process and sends back the response. So action is comprises of a response and a request. So I click on this new action. So in our example, we need to get the email. So I can say emails of user. So I copy and paste it on all the operations ID here, and we need to create the request sample. So I click on this import from sample, and now I go back to our Graph API. You can see this is a get for this particular URL. I copy this, I go here and I select the get and I paste the URI. Do we need any headers here? Yes, we can have the headers. If you can go to this request header, we can see that some request header will be passing our OAuth authentication, which is not required to actually specify that here, because by default the custom connector will send the OAuth authentication. So we just need to configure for the Microsoft OAuth, which is handled by the custom connector. So I can click on import here. So if you can see, we have used a URL as select and the top, but the custom connector automatically identifies that's a query string and it make it as a parameter. So the request is completed. Now I go to the response. So what is the response I'm getting back from this API? So I will add it from a sample. So what is the header I'm getting? I can go to the Graph API. I click on the response header. I just copy that and I paste it here. Same way, I go to the response preview, copy the whole content, and I paste it here. When I click on import, this will process the response and it can return back the way that we have requested. So I click on update connector here. So this will define the definition for this particular custom connector. Once it is done, we can reuse this custom connector across a Power Platform, Canvas app, Power Automate, or even in the PVA, where you can connect the Power Automate from there. So I click on test. I create a new connection for this particular custom connector so I can test it from the custom connector test preview mode. So it has been connected. Now I go to the custom connector to test it. So I go to the test. I can specify I need 100 and I need subject. When I do the test operation, you can see I'm getting the values here and it is fetching only the subject, which is cool. So I go back to my Canvas app. I can remove this reference here. I go and add our Graph API custom connector. So we have created the custom connector after we open the Canvas app. So this may need a refresh on the browser to reflect back the changes that we have done outside. So I'm refreshing the Canvas app edit mode. So now once it is refreshed, I go to the data and I click on add data source. You can see there are various connectors and there is a connector which we have created now. I click on this one, which shows a custom connector list, and this will show the list of methods in it. So if I go here, I click on mail graph connector dot email users. So you can see that there are two parameters. If I don't select a parameter, this will automatically don't send that parameter value in the API. So for example, if I select this as a subject and I can ask the top 50 mails in it. So once it is done, I need the value from this one. So I click on this particular item to show me the subject. So put on dot, I can see I'm getting ID subject and only the ID subject, no body or any other information. So I'm clicking on the subject here. Wow, you can see we got a list of emails from them, top 50. I can change this to 100 and this will load all the 100 details here. So we have successfully did the app registration for the custom connector, and we have configured our own custom connector for Office 365 Outlook Graph API. So if some of the companies will have their own APIs and they will ask for any authentication purpose. So for example, if the authentication is more on app key or an API key or a basic authentication by sending a user name and password, you can do that. Or if it's an app key, you can pass the app key in the parameter whereas this can be, the key can be hidden from all the developers. You just need to share this particular custom connector. So I click on this and I can share across your development group. So you can limit who can see the API, who can edit the APIs, the custom connector details, that we can do a drill down, which is for the, maybe I will add a next video for how to control that. So we have successfully configured our custom connector, and thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you.